Erev Tov Chavrim, I'm Stephen Benoon. You are watching Israeli News Live. Got some breaking news going on every direction you can possibly imagine. According to Memo Middle East Monitor, as you see on your screen, U.S. to establish a military base in Israel. Yes, you're seeing exactly, of course, the picture here, image of a U.S. military base. It's not necessarily the one in Israel there. They're talking about building one in Haifa. The article states here, the U.S. Army intends to use Israeli coast as a military base against troops in nearby areas, including Russian forces in Syria. El-Massadar News reported the U.S. National Defense Authorization Act of the NDAA stipulating the Israel-based news website said that according to the NDAA subsection, the U.S. military is to establish a maritime base in Israeli coastal city of Haifa in the coming years. The U.S. government ongoing assistance to Israel comes under Section 1259 of the National Defense Authorization Act of 2017, titled Authorization of the United States Assistance to Israel, which stipulated the maritime security and maritime domain awareness in the Eastern Middle Eastern Sea are critical not only to the security of Israel, but also to U.S. national security interests. Encourage the Department of Defense continue efforts to develop and improve capabilities in these areas. Now, what that means is that that Israel itself gave up its own sovereignty once Israel got all this money from the U.S. government to allow them to build a base on their territory. A Roman base, no less. That's the kind of things, guys, that just really trouble me to begin with, is that an actual U.S. military presence inside of Israel, something that's never been allowed by the Israeli government, would undermine Israel's sovereignty as a nation and would bring the nation actually under a Roman control. You don't think that Rome isn't pushing for this? I guarantee you they are. And it's very troubling to me to see this happening. On top of that, Israeli rockets strike Damascus Military Airbase reports. Syrian military source has said Israeli rockets hit an airbase near Damascus. No casualties have been reported. However, Reuters reports the Israeli rockets hit Mizeh military report at about 3 a.m. on Wednesday. Syrian state media, Syrian Arab News Agency, also confirmed the report. Now, we just reported how that this airstrike that struck the Turkish military that no one wants to be talking about right about now, but how that happened on Tuesday. Now Israelis are hitting an airfield near Damascus. Isn't that a little bit odd, don't you think? A source said that the attack caused a fire, but there were no casualties. Israel launched a number of surface-to-air missiles from inside the occupied territories. Now, I don't agree with that. Israel is not an occupied territory. It was a mandated state, and actually the UN had mandated back in 1947 a Palestinian and an Israeli state. So for those of you that, I don't like it. I have to say it. I don't like the idea of two states, but that's the way the UN had started off, with Jerusalem being internationalized as an independent state ran by an external regime. So you want to talk about the U.S. putting a military base? That's because the Pope of Rome is about to land his little legs there inside of Israel and Jerusalem there, and he wants to make sure that he's got full protection of his Roman army there to help back him up there. So anyway, this is definitely going to cause what's happening right now with the government of Israel attacking Syria and Damascus. This is going to end up causing repercussions. I mean, thus far, the Syrian army has not retaliated whatsoever, and yet Israel has struck Syria over and over and over. And, it's almost as if Rome is trying to manufacture biblical prophecy the way they want it to be. They want Russia to enter into Israel so they can say that it is Gog and Magog, and we have to bring peace to the Middle East. No, what they're doing it for is to instigate a war in order to bring all these Arab armies onto Israel's borders there to take and kill as many of the Jews as they possibly can. That's what their plan has been for decades. all the way back to Albert Pike's book there. So, it's just sad to see that this is what's going on, but it's exactly what's happening and very concerning to me. Speaking of this happening here, it's interesting to note that already happened here, posted on his Twitter page here. Photo shows U.S. Eisenhower and France's Charles de Gaulle aircraft carriers conducting naval ops in the Mediterranean Sea. Well, they're backing up Israel. And you have to understand, I am Jewish. Israel, this is my people. It's very disheartening for me to see that we are under this type of situation. But it's a very serious situation without a doubt. Going right on. I just had Ken Killing trying to call in, as you see that. He's with my good friend John B. Wells there. So maybe there's something going on with what we're seeing here. That's probably what they'd like to bring out as some of the things happening. Here in 100 killed, hundreds hurt as a quake strikes near Indonesia too, by the way, for those of you knowing that. And another thing that makes me think that Syria is involved in what's going on, we see that the Syrian army liberates another village near al-Bab in Aleppo. So if Syria is moving closer and closer to al-Bab, then we know that Turkey, which is direct competition with the Syrian government there, this is probably why there was an airstrike done yesterday there. I'm Stephen Benoon. You're watching Israeli News Live. Shalom.